Welcome to another pop culture crash course. Today we're covering the Scream franchise. After the double murder of Casey Becker and her boyfriend Steve at the hands of a deranged killer, the town of Woodsboro is thrown into a media frenzy. Neve Campbell plays Sydney Prescott, a high schooler whose mother was murdered the year previous. After Sydney is attacked at home by the killer, suspicion shifts to her boyfriend Billy, who coincidentally shows up when the killer vanishes. This suspicion is seemingly alleviated when Sydney receives a call from the killer while Billy is in custody.
Hello, Sydney.
The film also features David Arquette as Deputy Dewey Riley and Courtney Cox as TV news reporter Gail Weathers. Having covered the story of Sydney's mother's murder, Gail believes the man charged with the crime to be innocent and that the real killer may still be at large.
Cotton murdered my mother. You're not so sure anymore, are you?
After Sydney is attacked at school and the principal murdered, the town is put on curfew.
Coming to my fiesta?
Yeah, I'm off early. Curfew, you know?
The film's final act sees the characters attend a party at Stu's house. In a meta scene commenting on the tropes of the genre, film buff Randy gives an explanation to the rules to survive a horror movie.
Never, under any circumstances, say, I'll be right back.
I'm getting another beer. You want one?
Yeah, sure.
I'll be right back!
During the party, the killer strikes again, taking the lives of Tatum and Gail's cameraman Kenny. In the film's climax, it's revealed that Billy is in fact the killer, along with Stu working as his accomplice.
Surprise, Sydney.
Billy tells Sydney that he and Stu murdered her mother. Billy blames Sydney's mother for the infidelity committed by his father, which led to his own mother abandoning him.
How's that for a motive?
From there, he and Stu constructed a plan to continue killing those around them. The film ends with Sydney facing off against the two killers, ultimately leading to their demise.
Not in my movie.
After two college students are killed at the preview of a film based on the murders in Woodsboro, Sydney is thrown into the spotlight once again. Other survivors, Gail, Dewey and Randy, also return to aid in solving the mystery of what appears to be a copycat killer. Notable additions to the cast include Jerry O'Connell as Sydney's boyfriend Derek, Laurie Metcalf as reporter Debbie Salt, Timothy Oliphant as film student Mickey, and Liev Schreiber as Cotton Weary, who is reunited with Sydney for the first time since being accused of her mother's murder.
What the hell are you doing? We want to know how you feel. Tell us everything that's happened looking back on the last 2 years.
After being attacked on campus, Sydney begins to fear that history could be repeating itself in more ways than one, driving a wedge between her and Derek. After Randy is murdered, Dewey and Gail take it upon themselves to find the killer. During their investigation, the two are ambushed,
No one there.
seemingly leading to Dewey's death. After a tense encounter, it's revealed to Sydney that freaky Tarantino film student Mickey is the true killer.
Surprise, Sydney.
Mickey kills Derek and tells Sydney that he intends to kill her too and blame the murders on cinema violence. We then learn that his accomplice is reporter Debbie Salt, whom Sydney recognizes as Mrs. Loomis.
What?
Billy's mother!
Mrs. Loomis quickly betrays and kills Mickey. Before Mrs. Loomis is able to kill Sydney, Cotton arrives. The exchange ends with Cotton shooting Mrs. Loomis and saving Sydney in the process. In the aftermath, Dewey is revealed to have survived, and Sydney credits Cotton for stopping the killer, helping to clear his name in the court of public opinion. Cotton Weary, now living in Los Angeles, is contacted by Ghostface, who demands to know the whereabouts of Sydney Prescott.
Who is this?
Somebody who'd kill to know where Sydney Prescott is. One chance, Cotton.
When he refuses to cooperate, Cotton and his girlfriend Christine are murdered. Gail Weathers is contacted by detectives to discuss the murders. She learns that Cotton was due to make a cameo as himself in Stab 3, the third and final part of the film series based on the Woodsboro and Windsor College murders. Gail then travels to Hollywood, where she finds Dewey Riley working as an advisor on set.
Gail.
Dewey.
But when another cast member is murdered, production is shut down. Sydney, now living in seclusion, fears the killer may strike. Having discovered her whereabouts, the killer begins taunting Sydney, drawing her out of hiding. After several more murders, Sydney arrives to learn that the killer has been leaving pictures of her mother at the scene of each crime. It's discovered that Sydney's mother, Maureen, was an actress during the time the photos were taken. Dewey, Gail, and the remaining Stab 3 cast attend a birthday for the film's director, Roman Bridger, where Ghostface strikes. Threatening the lives of Dewey and Gail, the killer lures Sydney to his location. When she arrives, Detective Kincaid shows up but is subdued. Sydney escapes to a secret screening room where she encounters the killer. It's revealed that the killer is Roman, who admits to being Sydney's half-brother, born to their mother Maureen when she was an actress in Hollywood. Bitter from rejection after an unsuccessful attempt to reunite with his mother, Roman began filming Maureen. This leads to the revelation that he was responsible for Billy Loomis learning of his father's affair with Maureen, serving as the catalyst for the series so far.
You. This is all because of you.
However, when he discovered how much fame Sidney had attracted due to the events, Roman snapped and lured Sidney out of hiding to frame her for the murders.
The area you had that should have been mine!
A fight ensues between Sidney and Roman, which ends in her stabbing him multiple times. When Roman suddenly resurfaces, Dewey and Gail arrive, finally killing him. In the closing scenes of the film, Dewey proposes to Gail, who accepts. On the 15th anniversary of the original Woodsboro massacre, 2 high school students are murdered by a new Ghostface. Following this, Sidney Prescott returns to Woodsboro to promote her new book, Out of Darkness. After evidence is found tying her to the murders, Sidney becomes a suspect and must stay in town until they are solved.
Everyone's a suspect. I'm sorry.
We are introduced to Sidney's cousin, Jill Roberts, who begins receiving threatening phone calls from Ghostface, as does her friend Olivia. Jill and Olivia, alongside their friend Kirby, are questioned about the calls by Dewey, who is now the town sheriff, while his deputies Judy Hicks, Anthony Perkins, and Ross Hoss assist him in the case. After Olivia is murdered, Gail enlists the help of 2 high school students, Charlie and Robbie, who explain that the killer is using the rules of movie remakes.
Where it goes from there?
A party.
Exactly.
Charlie concludes that the killer will likely strike at a screening party for the Stab franchise being held that night. Gail attends the party to investigate and is attacked by Ghostface, who flees when Dewey arrives. Later, Hoss and Perkins are murdered while guarding Jill's house. There, Ghostface calls Sidney, who discovers that Jill has left for Kirby's. Ghostface arrives and kills Jill's mother. After Hicks arrives, Sidney drives to Kirby's house in search of Jill. Whilst gathered at Kirby's, the teens are attacked by Ghostface. Sidney arrives at the house to leave with Jill, but they are both given chase. Sidney evades the killer, but Kirby is forced to play a game with Charlie's life hanging in the balance. Successful, Kirby unties Charlie, who then stabs her, revealing himself to be the killer. Charlie goes on to attack Sidney, who's then stabbed by the second killer, Jill. Jill explains that her motive was out of anger and jealousy because of the fame that Sidney had received for surviving the murders. Jill executes Trevor and betrays Charlie, stabbing him to death, making herself the sole survivor.
Trevor was your partner. You were the idea man.
Jill stabs Sidney and mutilates herself to frame Trevor as her attacker. Dewey, Hicks, and the police arrive at the house as Sidney and Jill are taken to hospital. After discovering that Sidney has survived, Jill makes one final attempt on her life. Dewey, Gail, and Judy quickly intervene. Jill manages to subdue Dewey and Hicks and holds Gail at gunpoint before Sidney incapacitates and fatally shoots her. 2022 sees the return of Ghostface in the 5th installment/reboot, Scream. David Arquette, Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, Mary Shelton, and Roger Jackson reprised their roles from previous installments. 25 years after the original Woodsboro murders, a new killer has donned the Ghostface mask and begins targeting a group of teenagers to resurrect the secrets of the town's deadly past.
Hello, Sydney.
Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified for our next video when we cover the live-action evolution of Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery.